Hi, everybody. This is Megan Barry, president of Who's Who in Luxury Real Estate and luxuryrealestate.com. I want to introduce our featured speaker, Chris Pollinger. Welcome to the webinar on Elevate, Expand, and Excel, Harnessing AI in Personal Branding for Luxury Real Estate. Again, presented by Chris Pollinger from LRE Lux Leaders, one of our favorite partners. Chris, we've been working together for a long time. We're super excited about this topic. I think pretty much anytime anyone sees the term AI, they say, yes, let's talk. Either they know a lot about it or they don't know anything about it and they want to know about it. So jump on in. This is going to be a very conversational session. After Chris presents, we will do Q&A. As I said, we would like to encourage you to put your questions into the chat as we're going along. And then at the end, we'll do the Q&A and allow you to get interactive. All right. Thank you, Chris. Lovely to have you.
Well, it's great to be here, and thanks for hosting the webinar, and thank you everybody for tuning in. This is fantastic. You know, one of the things that we do is we work with brokers, luxury brokers, teams, and agents to help them dominate their market space. That's what we do, right? So when we look at how can we bring value to each one of the conversations that we bring to, I go back to, we have 12 foundations that we've figured out for mastery in luxury real estate. And they range from sales and marketing skills to operation and finance. And one of the things that's part of that 12 is personal branding. And it's one of the foundations that I think we're going to be spending a lot of time touching on today. And when I look at personal branding and I look at how the kind of the deep dives in personal branding, one of the things that really has been come out of nowhere and is affecting all of our lives really radically, and I think it's going to have much more effect as we move forward, is this whole idea of artificial intelligence. And are we using it? Are we not using it? It's surprising to me as we talk to different audiences and go around the country, asking people how many people are using AI in their business now. And I'm still getting a handful of hands versus the majority of hands within the real estate community. So one of the things, as I reel back and look at the market that we've had for 2023, we came off of this COVID boom in luxury, which was fantastic. We had this whiplash into 2023, and that bumpy market really hurts the middle agents the most, right? The newer agents that come into the market that have come into the market in the last, I'm going to say 12 months, 6 to 12 months, they don't know the difference. They don't know that this is a bad market or a good market. They don't know what high rates are or low rates are. They hear about it, but they haven't really necessarily experienced it. This is all they know. And so they're doing pretty well as a group. New agents that have come into the industry in the last 6 months or 12 months are doing pretty well and have been fairly unaffected historically. And top agents know how to consistently generate business. And so if you ask, the top 10% in any marketplace, how do you generate your business year after year? They know consistently how they're doing that. And so they know it's a little bit more difficult today that they're doing it, but they know how to go back to work and how to generate the business. But that middle tier, that did a number of transactions last year. But if you ask them about the transactions, they say, well, I got referred a transaction. I met this other person at Starbucks, and this person was a friend or a family member or whatever. And historically, you can do pretty well with sphere of influence. And I'm a huge advocate of sphere of influence marketing. But when it comes down to it, those middle get hurt the most because they don't necessarily know how to generate business on an ongoing basis. And that's something that I think we really need to address, and we want to get to the other side of. And so I'm gonna share that, as I look out on the horizon, as we set the stage for today, as I look out on the horizon, I'm going to say that we're going to have a bumpy ride for a bit, right? And so it's going to be more than a minute that things are going to be up and down, and things are going to be kind of schizophrenic as far as the news that we're hearing. Rates are up yesterday, and mortgage will be down, but sales are up. You're going to have these ups and downs, I think, for a bit. And as we talk about that, and as we go through that, I really do think that we have 2 to 3 years, or you have 2 to 3 years, to get into the top 10% of your marketplace. The top 10% of your marketplace is going to be gold, right? If you're in that top 10%, you are the person everybody else is trying to compete against. And I think that we have this period of time where the the playing field is starting to uneven, and it's getting worse. And I think it's going to skew really badly in the next 2 to 3 years. So my encouragement is work really, really hard right now on the fundamentals, because if you can focus on getting into that top 10%, after you're in the 2 to 3 years, it's going to be so hard to dislodge you from that space. And if you're not in that space, it's going to cost so much to get into that space. It's going to be really difficult. So with those things kind of setting the stage, I want to talk about why harnessing AI and personal branding is so important in the luxury market. First and foremost, artificial intelligence is going to touch every area of our lives. I've had the privilege, benefit, and maybe the cringeability of my real estate career over the last 30 years grew at the same time that the internet kind of became in vogue. I remember MLS books versus it being online, and that transition, and have seen the entire spectrum through that time, right? I think AI is going to touch our lives far more than the internet, and far faster than the internet ever did. And so those are things that when we kind of get into these different bases, I've been living with AI fairly full time since January. I'm going to say we were very early adopters in the AI experience and what we could do with AI. And so we've been harnessing that and working with our clients with AI to have them position themselves as being leaders. And I will say most trends that I look at, they're long-term trends. There's definitely a bleeding edge. And over the last 30 years, I have been on the bleeding edge on a lot of different trends. With AI, we don't have a bleeding edge. It is moving that quickly, right? So if you are on the leading edge of this curve, it's going to pay you exponential dividends. Both in time, in effort, and in money. Those that get this and get it quick and get on board are going to be way ahead of the competitors. Now, the great thing is again, I'm out there in offices, I'm out there with different crowds, and I'm asking how many people are using AI on a regular basis. Very, very few real estate agents, luxury real estate agents are raising their hands. And so that's something that gives you an opportunity to outflank all of your competitors and get ahead of this curve. So artificial intelligence is going to cut costs. It's going to improve your output. What you're actually putting out is going to get better, and it's going to slash the time spent on non-dollar productive activities, right? In all of our real estate businesses, we have the dollar productive activities, and we have all these other non-dollar productive activities, the admin stuff, and all this stuff that leads to dollar productivities. But really, what we get paid for is when we bring buyers and sellers together, right? What we get paid for is when we're interacting with clients directly. And so the more time that we can spend doing that, the more you're going to get paid, and the better off your life is going to be. So let me give you a little bit of statistics about where AI is currently and where it's going. By 2025, the market value of AI is going to be about 60 billion. Those are the estimates. Right now, 91.5 of the leading businesses, those that are on the top of the stock exchanges, are investing in AI, and they're doing so on an ongoing basis. AI is going to, as a technology, is expected to create 12 million more jobs than it is expected to replace. It's supposed to displace about 35% of the marketplace right now. So it's going to create a whole new group of jobs that we'd have never even thought of before. And that's going to happen fairly quickly, right? There's going to be about 97 million specialists needed in the AI industry by 2025. So that's a very short jump for a huge opportunity and adoption, right? That we're seeing that has never happened so fast and to such a huge scale. I'm going to give you a case study. Started working with an agent who was struggling to be consistent in social media, and they were dedicating 4 hours a week to social media, doing all the social media tricks. They had gone to all the classes, they had done all the different things, and they were spending 4 hours a week to create posts and to do the videos and to edit it, and they were really struggling with consistency. And when AI came into the space, especially ChatGPT, we started leveraging the power of ChatGPT on his behalf. We helped him integrate it into his business in a way that we trained GPT to speak in his voice and know his business, know his market, know his messaging. And now he can effortlessly create posts and coherent branded content. And so all of his messages now, where he used to just do one message and post it out to the various platforms that he was involved in, now he can create not only that same branded content that fits together with everything else, but now that content can take on a different messaging for the Facebook crowd, for Instagram, for Twitter, which is now called X, for TikTok, for Pinterest, for YouTube, for all of the different channels. And so now he's also in the process added press releases and PR opportunities to the mix because he's got more time. See, all of this, we've transformed all of those things, and now he's doing all of that in less than 4 hours a month. And where he was posting previously 20 to 30 posts a month, he's now doing over 180 posts on the various channels a month, and his follower count has exploded, right? So he's being far more effective, and his growth is now consistent, which is fantastic. And I like the fact, that growth and likes and all of that stuff that stuff's great, right? I mean, it's great for ego. But at the end of the day, the thing that really is the biggest deal to me is, does it pay off in real transactions? And I will say that now that he is starting to consistently post across channels and starting to really push, now this is really starting to pay off in real transactions that are closing, right? And so now he's being able to separate himself from the rest of the pack, just because he's able to bury people with the messaging. How much time do we have before everybody catches on to the fact that we're going to have this huge streams of new content coming out? It'll be fairly quickly. I think we're going to see some snap too. But right now, there's a huge opportunity for you to get ahead of the curve in that space. So some of the benefits with this is AI tools can be set up to help you with every area of your business, literally every area of your business. All of those 12 foundations, every one of them, from research to development to marketing to sales to finance to operations to culture and the experience of the client to productivity and team building to personal brand, time management, energy and vitality. All of these different areas that we have as kind of the foundations of the real estate experience and real estate mastery as far as your business is concerned. AI tools can help you with every area of those, right? So if you haven't dove into that space, it can help you with meal plans. It can help you with time management. It can help you with posting on a regular schedule. It can help you with where defining your brand. Who am I, and what is my voice? What is my style? How should I be portraying myself into the industry around me? How do I set myself apart strategically from my competitors in my space? Where are the places that I can promote myself and really take advantage of that juxtaposition against some of my competitors? AI can help you with every one of those questions and help you implement plans for every one of those things. And so this tech is the trifecta. It's going to help you make more money. It's going to do it in less time. And it's going to do it with less out-of-pocket expenses. And again, 30 years in real estate, those are the three things that we care most about, right? We want to make more money. We want to do it with less time and less output. And we want to pay less expenses in doing that. So if we can do all three of those with any kind of tech, we're really excited about that. And the great thing about this particular set of tech is it's stupid cheap. Like, it's not kind of cheap. It is stupid cheap. And it's going to change everything we do, right? So 54%, some a little bit more data for you. 54% of executives who are using AI solutions that are implemented in their businesses have already seen a dramatic increase in productivity. 61% of the working class that have adopted AI within their workplace has led to a boost in productivity. We're going to see a surge of productivity out of our general economy, which is going to be really great for housing and for us, right? There's going to be a surge of productivity that AI is going to push, because we're going to be a lot more efficient about what we're putting out, especially in a lot of the white collar sectors. It's going to be a lot more efficient, a lot more effective in pushing things out, which means we're going to push out a ton more, right? Productivity. 84% of businesses say AI is going to enable them to obtain or sustain a competitive advantage. And so, and go into new marketplaces. So just imagine if for a second, if you had a 50% productivity boost, if you could take the transactions you did last year and you could say, I'm going to do 50% more transactions than I did last year. And at the same time, I'm going to save in one entire day a week. I'm going to just take that day and I'm going to spend it on whatever you want to spend it on. Whatever the one thing is that you're like, I love doing this. It brings me fulfillment and it makes me feel alive. If you could do 50% more while saving one day a week and taking one day a week off, what would that do to your business? What would that do to your mindset? What would that do to your life, right? Huge, huge, huge opportunities within artificial intelligence. So some of the challenges that we're seeing with artificial intelligence, AI tech is evolving at hyperspeed. And when I say hyperspeed, I'm not being, it's not a euphemism. It's gone from a month to month in January, February, March. It went from like month to month. There was new releases coming out, things you could do, to week. Now it's to day, right? I mean, literally, there are new announcements on the competing products and the competing models, what they can do, their capabilities on a day-to-day basis, and what people are able to do with them. It's mind-bending, right? One of the other challenges is that competing models are in a horse race to see who's going to come out ahead, right? So when we look at like the language models, ChatGPT, Llama, Bard, there's a number of them out there that are competing for this space. They're in a horse race, and so they're, this particular model says we are announcing this. This particular model says, oh, we've got this, and then we do this other thing. So they're all kind of in this horse race to see who's going to come out ahead. Well, that's problematic for us as users, because now we can be stuck saying, well, which one's better today, right? We can be looking and chasing the tech, right, versus using the tech and saying, how can we use it in our business? Because at the end of the day, as real estate professionals, all we care is that it works in our business. How is it a benefit to me, right? I don't necessarily want to keep up on the horse race that's going on and who's going to win this horse race. At the same time, all the machines are learning, right? So all these models are getting better and better and better. And so one of the ways that we interact with these models is through a function called prompting. We have to tell the model what to do. So that's called a prompt. In the model, I say, I want you to do this or that. And the prompts that we used, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, are not as effective as they are today as they were 2 or 3 months ago. Why? Because the machines are learning. They're learning and getting better. And as they get better, there's a prompt creep. It's a very real issue, right? So I can't just go back and learn. So if I went through a class and I got a master's degree or PhD in AI prompting 3 months ago, the reality is that education is worth about 10% of what it was worth 3 months ago, just because the prompt creep has moved that quickly, right? And I think that that's going to continue to escalate on the other side of that. And while we're focusing on the positives of AI today, especially, there's plenty of downsides, and there's been a lot of talk in the news and kind of in the other spheres, right? In social media about AI is going to destroy the world, and AI is going to do this, and AI is going to do that. And we've seen movies in the past that have shown what happens when robots get control, right? And at the end of the day, there's going to be some downsides. I'm not going to focus on the downsides because I can't really do much about the downsides. I'm not in charge of that. I don't have a vote there. The genie is out of the bottle, and any kind of regulation that we're going to have is going to be responsive versus proactive. And that's just the way that the regulation tends to be. So what we're going to find is something bad is going to happen, and they're going to regulate it and try and pull it back. So right now, being in front of that, we're able to do things that I don't think that we're going to be able to do in the not so distant future. So some of the solutions that I really want you to look at and start thinking about and putting into your business, right? This is if you haven't been taking notes, it's a good time to take notes. Even though Megan's recording this, and you're going to be able to get it, you're going to be able to look at it and see it in the future. So first, start with the language-based models. Those are going to be like ChatGPT and Bard and some of those other ones. So these are the ones that are going to interact with you. And when you hear about AI and the people that are using AI as a use case, these are typically what they're talking about, because these are the most prevalent at this point in time. The key with any of these is to train it to your style, voice, and tone. And so if you go into ChatGPT, for example, and you say, I want you to, put together a social media plan, for the next 3 months for me, and you tell a little bit about yourself, and you tell them a little bit about what your business is and who your audience is, it's going to give you some good result. But the best results are going to be when you can train those models to your style, your tone, and your voice, so that it starts outputting it starts outputting things as if it was you speaking. Right. This is something that's a huge key, because once you get these things dialed in so minutely, AI can't tell it's AI, right? I mean, because it's so specific. And so one of the things that we did is we took the GPT model, right? ChatGPT is based on GPT, which is a language, a coding language. And ChatGPT is basically the user interface for that. It's a window into the model. But Jasper AI and a lot of these other things have been around the industry for a while. We're all based on that GPT model in the background. And we took that GPT model for us and said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to train this to be consultants to luxury real estate agents. And so we trained up an entire staff of people that focus on those 12 foundations and focus on the needs that you have, and said, we want you to think like an amazing consultant staff that are experts in luxury real estate. And so you can interact with those people and with our AI staff, and they're going to give you answers like they know luxury real estate. Why? Because we trained them on luxury real estate. And one of the things we do for our members that we're announcing, I guess, today, is we're gonna start for our members, giving all of our members a personal assistant that's trained in their style, tone, and voice. So that's something that you can go in and say, hey, I really like this thing I got from a lender, or you got a newsletter or something from somebody else. I really like it, and I really like to send it out to my audience. And so you can take that and you can just drop it over and say, can you please rewrite this in my style, tone, and voice, understanding my marketplace and who my audience is. And it will go ahead and rewrite all that content for you and come up with something completely original now that you can send it out, right? So language-based models, amazing. Whether you use ChatGPT, whether you use one of the other competing services, or whether you choose to use the stuff that's available through us, whatever the case is, it doesn't really matter to me. For you, you need to start with the language-based models, because they're the most, you're going to get the best bang for the buck out of those, and they're the most refined and done as far as that goes. They're ready for prime time. They're being used right now in bulk, which is crazy. The other thing is I want you to get familiar with the image-based models. So there's image-based models. There's a number of them. Stable Diffusion, Midjourney. There's a number of them that can draw pictures. Now, the drawing of the pictures is really interesting, and illustrations is really interesting, but it is creepy good when it comes down to architecture, when it comes down to being able to put together images that you can use in marketing pieces, especially your digital marketing stuff. It is unbelievable the amount of detail that you can put into something, which is absolutely amazing. So, when you look at using stock photography, or even having to go out and doing photo shoots, although those things are going to be things of the past, as these models are coming up, right? And they're really good. I'm going to say they're about 90% there for most practical purposes. But you can now take like pictures of yourself and upload a bunch of pictures of yourself and say, hey, I need a new business profile pic that shows me in this particular area, and it'll draw one up for you. That's something that it is really hard to tell it's not you, right? And you've never been in that place. So we're getting really, really close with the image-based ones. The next ones after that, sound and voice. Sound and voice are about 80% currently there. They're good, but one of the things that's been talked about is Apple is releasing with their new iPhones in the fall, the ability to train your own voice on your phone, and that voice, and they're doing it for accessibility issues, right? People that don't have a voice or can't speak or have trouble speaking, it can speak for them. But this is going to be something that, when you clone your voice, it is spooky, because now I can go to GPT and say, I want you to do this particular, I need a script for a video. And you can have them write the script for the video in your voice, like it sounds like you wrote it. And then you can go in and say, okay, I'm going to upload it up so that this sound and voice with my voice is going to read the script. So it's like me doing it, right? When we talked about that guy earlier and saying, how is he outputting so many different things, especially when it comes to YouTube and TikTok and video? Some of the stuff is doing that with saying, okay, ChatGPT is going to write a script, right? If I take a property description, for example, I get a new listing. I take that and I say, I want ChatGPT to write me an amazing property description, like written by a marketing PhD from Harvard, right? I want it to be absolutely stunning. And it can do that. And then I can take that property description, I can put it in there. I can say, okay, well, now that I have that property description, can I have a Facebook post? Can I have a LinkedIn post? Because the systems know that the Facebook audience is a different audience than the LinkedIn audience. And so it will write two different versions based on, the audience that it's going to. Oh, and by the way, can I have, 10 or 15 Twitter, Twitter posts that I can do that I can push out with that? Can I also have a short form video script talking about the property? Can I have a longer form video script talking about the property? Because I'm going to go ahead and record both of those, and then I'm going to chop those up and place them in different places, right? So now I can take content and I can spin content in a variety of different ways, and I can do it for the actual audience and platforms that it's designed for. This is something that is game-changing, absolutely game-changing, because it didn't cost me any more time than it did before, right? So that's it, it's crazy. So sound and voice, really close to be there. I'm going to say in the next couple of months, sound and voice are going to be completely there, which means I can clone it. And if I can clone my voice, think about that, what that's going to mean for calling, for reaching out to people, where people are going to be able to have conversations with a version of you that's not really you, that sounds like you and thinks like you. And that's going to be something, again, right around the corner. We're going to see that by year end for sure, right? Which is terrifying. However, also something we need to embrace and figure out how we can use this ethically, responsibly, and positively in the future to really serve our clients better, right? So video exists right now, and video is going to be widely available in the near future as well. So we're going to start seeing things that are, we've heard these concepts or these videos called deep fakes, which you're watching a video of somebody and it's completely made up, right? AI did it from start to finish. And this is kind of where we get into, AI could do some really evil things. Yes, AI can do some really evil things, I think, down the future. But again, we're going to focus on what positive thing can we do if video exists, and we can do videos where we can have the language model write the script, we can have the voiceover, that's our voice and our tone, and we can have a video of us doing the presentation. I'm so excited about that. Now, for 30 years, I've been in real estate. For the last 25, a little over 25, I've been in executive management coaching, consulting and speaking, right? I have spent a long time working on being able to get in front of groups of people and talk to them. I can't personally, as an introvert, I cannot wait for this technology, right? Because I'm going to be able to do amazing videos without having to criticize myself on the back end going, well, I did this too much, or I said that too much, or I used too many filler words, whatever the case is, because that's where we kill ourselves, is in the micromanagement of ourselves. And so I can't wait for this technology to get there. And I'm going to say the video right now, really close, again, by the end of the year, I think it's going to change. Now, the thing that's going to change everything, absolutely everything, is the end-to-end automation. That's going to change everything. Because right now, you have to prompt something. So I can go into ChatGPT and I can say, I need you to give me a marketing plan for this particular property. It's a $15 million property. It's got a great water view, and I need you to tell me the marketing plan. I need you to, here's the resources that I have. You can tell it I'm a member of Who's Who in Luxury Marketing, and it will know what Who's Who is and what you can do with LRE's network. It's been trained on that. It knows that. And so It'll tell you a press release, and it'll tell you to do photography, and it'll do all of these things. Now I can put that entire marketing plan into a document and take it to my listing presentation and do something that's completely custom for that particular property. I can do that today, right? I just have to tell it I need a marketing plan for this property. But what I can't do is it'll give me the plan, but now it's up to me to execute on it. So what I'm going to have to do is come back and say, okay, well, I've got a checklist, and so I need you to write, and I can tell GPT, I need you to write the description for this. I need you to do this part. I need you to do that part for me, and give me the content. But at some point in time, I'm going to have to take that content and post it somewhere, right? And there's some tools out there like Zapier and some of those other tools that do some automation pieces of that, which is going to be great. But we're really close, and it's not in a user interface that's exciting at this point in time. It's in it exists, but you have to see code. So it's kind of like looking at the matrix at some point in time. But that end-to-end automation where you can say to these models, I need you to do a marketing plan for this property, and I need you to execute all of the checklist items and have it go from end to end and have it do the entire thing seamlessly from start to finish. I'm going to say that again is probably a year out, but when that happens, imagine what that's going to be like. I mean, imagine that everything I do, it's going to have a personal assistant that never sleeps, that I don't have to pay, and I don't have to feed, and I don't have to pay benefits for, that is going to be able to do things from start to finish. It'll be able to book flights for you for your vacation. It'll be able to book reservations for you. It'll know the hotels that you like. It'll all of your business stuff. It'll know the vendors that you prefer working with. It'll go ahead and set up all of the appointments for photographers or for videographers. Once those files come in, it knows exactly where to take those, to put them into the templates that are your particular templates that fit into your brand. Not only the brand you're affiliated with, but your personal brand and your personal brand choice that has to do with your messaging, who you are within the marketplace. All of that stuff is going to be put into all of those things and pushed out automatically. And that's from end to end. That's coming, and that's coming way sooner than we all think it is. So I'm going to guesstimate certainly within the next year we're going to see that end to end automation, and it's going to cost next to nothing. Right. So that's going to be something, again, is going to change everything as we know it. And this is really where that end-to-end automation is going to really displace a huge amount. Like I said, the estimate's about 35% of the population is going to be displaced because they're doing that. They're doing the automation part. They're not automating it, they're manualizing it. But because the automation doesn't exist, once we have that in place, anything that doesn't take your brain to do, or that you could give to a virtual assistant, this is something that the computer's going to be able to do, or AI is going to be able to do. When that happens, and as we get more integration between these different tools, we're going to see live research usher in personalized messaging, right? So you have your brand, the brand that you're affiliated with, and you may have a broker that you're affiliated with, and that's something that has a different brand. And then you personally have a brand, right? Your personal brand. How are you different from the other people in your office? Why should somebody list with you versus the person that sits next to you at the office meeting? Your personal brand and all of those things that means. It's going to be able to take your personal, all three of those, and put messaging in, and you're going to be able to say, I'm meeting this afternoon. It actually won't even have to say anything. It'll just see it in your calendar. This afternoon you're meeting with an executive at a company in the area. And what it's going to do is it's going to be able to go into LinkedIn, and it's going to go into Twitter, and it's going to go into Instagram and Facebook and all these different places, and find out all about that person, what their interests are, what they've been doing in the last week, where they've been traveling, where they've been, what you have in common. And it's going to be able to take messaging and take your messaging and personalize it to that person, right? So imagine that from a perspective of, I now have a listing, and this listing is, $15 million, beautiful water view. Who's the right kind of, I can kind of go through the exercise of saying, who's probably going to buy this property. But now what I'll be able to do is go to the seller and say, I'm going to have hyper personalized messaging that's actually I'm going to hit a button, and it's going to know this is the avatar of the buyer that we're looking for, and it's going to go research and find all of the people that fit into those categories, and then it's going to be able to push out messaging to each one of them to sell this particular property on the hot buttons and trigger points for that particular person. So one person, it may be, close to hiking. The other person, it may be close to stables. The other person is a private airport. Whatever the case is, it's going to find that, and it's going to start marketing this property in a hyper personalized way to the right players. And that, again, is terrifying in its implications. However, crazy exciting for us as luxury real estate professionals, because we're going to be able to do amazing jobs for our clients in ways that we've never even imagined before. And what that's all going to do, and this is the thing I really want you to remember, is you're going to take all that time that you're going to be saving, and you're going to focus on relationships, loyalty, and authentic connection. Relationships, loyalty, and authentic connection, because those are three areas AI can't touch. They also happen to be the three areas that we get paid, and we get paid an enormous amount of money to do what we're doing, right? So it allows us to free up all this time so we can really focus on how can we authentically connect with other people? How can we build loyalty with our client base? How can we build a book of business that has this solidness to it, right? Because there's loyalty involved with it, because we have these deep relationships with these other people. That's where we're going to shine. So when I look at AI and how AI is going to displace a lot of the population and what they do over, a lot of industries, you don't see a lot of displacement within real estate, especially within the pros, because what we do is we focus on putting two people together, and we help facilitate that. And that is so emotionally based and so much focused on the relationship side that we're not going to go anywhere. We're more important than ever when it comes to the real estate process. So from an implementation standpoint, you can access the language models for $20 a month, and GBT is $20 or less, and that's going to 10x your productivity. So if you do nothing out of today, you just go, I'm going to go ahead and start using this stuff, and I'm going to start learning about this and get, kind of wade my feet in the water. Or if you're wading already, how can I wade even farther down the river? Very, very small outlay to 10x your productivity. You're going to be hugely productive about it. Now, if you take that and you get a part-time virtual assistant, $6 an hour, right? $5 to $7 an hour. If you take the productivity of AI, and then you take that and you give that and say, I want this virtual assistant to do that manual automating that we're waiting, that's coming down in the future, but can put those pieces together, it's going to 100x your productivity. It is absolutely astonishing what you can get accomplished when you can take a lot of the creative process and take that with the AI, and then give that to a virtual assistant and say, here, I need you to implement this. I need you to schedule these. I need you to put these posts up. I need you to do these different things. Again, it goes from 10x productivity to 100x of your productivity. Now you can do all this stuff for yourself if you really want to. You're here, so you're doing pretty well with it already. But I do think that the people that implement this technology and implement it sooner than later are really going to outpace their competitors in a really, 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 really significant way in the not so distant future. So from a personal brand standpoint, I'm going to take that and I'm going to say, what's my voice? What am I known for? What do I want to be known for? And how can I push this into the marketplace and really amplify my voice? Kind of like we talked about that case study earlier. Somebody who went from, 20 to 30 posts a month to 180 posts a month, and doing it in a channel specific way for each of those different audiences and getting real leads off of that. that's a significant, I don't care where you are in the world, that's a significant piece, because as we go down this road of AI, like things like search engine optimization, that game is going to be completely revolutionized, right? I mean, people aren't going to go to Google anymore and ask Google, and look through the results. So ranking high in Google is going to be less important in the future than it is right at the moment. All of this stuff is going to change. And again, if we get ahead of it and we start really understanding how this stuff works and how it thinks and involving in our lives, it's going to be remarkable, the difference it makes. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that I'm going to encourage you with, and then we'll open up to some Q&A and get into that. I could go literally, Megan knows, if you don't give me a time limit, I could go, for 15 days. So, we can get as deep as you want to on any of this stuff in the Q&A, or feel free to reach out to me afterwards, and we can geek out to the into the weeds if you want. But today I have to give you an overview because I've only got the time to give you an overview. At any rate, my encouragement is to follow me. I shared a link in there in the chat that you can click on, and literally on a daily basis, we're pushing out insights on those ultimate foundations to luxury real estate mastery and everything in between, right? I mean, we're also looking at stuff that doesn't necessarily fit into those 12, but things like, forecasts and trends, what's going on in the luxury space. How is what's going on? And everything in my lens is, how does it affect you, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to waste your time, because I know how precious it is with anything that doesn't necessarily affect you directly. And so, we're on top of all of these different things that are evolving, whether it comes from economics or population or, geopolitical issues, or all of these different things. And we distill it back through the lens of, how does this affect you in the luxury real estate market, right? That's my sole focus, is how does it affect you, and how can we help you be ahead of your competitors and be ahead of anything that might go on in the market, and be successful at what you do, right? Megan will tell you, well, I'm going to tell you, there's not a group of people that I love more and that I am more loyal to than this one here. And so, again, everything I'm doing is to focus on that. And there's stuff, and again, if you follow me on Facebook, you're not seeing what I'm doing on Instagram, because it's different messaging. Twitter, different messaging. LinkedIn, different messaging. Why? Because each one of those audiences is different. And whatever your favorite social media profile is, follow me so that you're getting a steady feed of things that I think are going to be really relevant to you when it comes to the luxury real estate space. Also, take advantage of your exclusive membership perks by clicking on the link in the chat box. You have perks that are available to literally nobody else. Yeah, we have an exclusive deal, that we put together with your particular network, and so that's something that nobody else has that deal. You guys have that deal, and you can thank Megan for that, because she is a incredible negotiator, and she is she's an incredible person too. So click on that free membership. You can get free access to a whole tool set of stuff that's literally just designed to help you with your business. There's also in there a 50% thing off, so you can get access to all of our AI tools for $15 a month. So it's cheaper than GPT. We train them, and we have people that are just dedicated to tweaking them like all the time, regularly, to make sure that we don't get the prompt creep, and making sure that we don't have those different things. And if you do that, again, we'll put together a AI bot that actually is trained in your voice, and so you can use it as your personal assistant. And that's something that, again, there's no long-term contracts on that. There's no contracts at all. It's just a month-to-month, so you can use it as you see fit, or you can see it, do it as you see benefit in it. And that's, again, if I'm not showing benefit on a regular basis, then I would hope you would stop following me. And certainly I'm not interested in tying anybody up long-term for something that's not a benefit to them. So with all of that said, I do appreciate you, and I appreciate all of your time and your energy and being on here. And if I went a little bit too high and didn't get far enough in the weeds, I promise, reach out to me, and I'll give you a call, and we can get into the weeds as deep as you want to. So I know that we have some questions and some chat. So I'm going to turn back to Megan and say, Megan.
So our first comment, and again, thanks everybody. We've got a really good group here today. So we've had a few people put things into the chat for questions. So Peter says, new software such as CRMs can be hugely time consuming to master to a fluent level. How much time do you estimate an agent would need to invest per day, per week, per month, whatever is meaningful? In the interest of equity, Facebook has made narrow targeting of specific audiences difficult in their paid formats. Can AI help with that?
Yes. So AI, great question. AI was built to be very conversational, and that's one of the cool things about it is especially when you look at like tools like ChatGPT, you can just have a conversation with it, and you learn how to have a conversation with it that's a little bit more detailed. But even when you start, you can just say, you know what, I don't even know what to ask you. This is what I'm trying. I need you to just tell me what I need to ask you and how I need to phrase a prompt. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. Please ask me as many questions as you need to give me the right kind of answer that you're looking for. And it will train you. It'll train you to train it, right? And so from a learning curve, the learning curve is really, really low. And if you want to send me a message, I'm happy to share some of those very, very early prompts that just say, how I need you to tell me what I need to know, right? And what I need to say. So those are things but it's all very conversational in nature. Where if it gives you an answer, you can say, I need this to go deeper. Can you give me more information about this? You give me, 6 paragraphs of something that I'm going to be putting out in a newsletter. I don't really like paragraph 4. Can we switch it with this other topic? And it'll do that for you. So a lot of those different things, the learning curve is very, very small because my interaction with it is really limited to, one chat bubble, right? Where a CRM, there are so many different functions within it, and there's so many different buttons and things to click that's where the learning curve comes in. Is the formatted of it is very, very different. With chat, especially when we're talking about the language-based models, it's like texting, right? So my learning curve is I know how to text, right? And so I can just have this conversation with AI and get this really great, meaningful information because it's like a friend who knows pretty much everything, right? And it'll give you the depth that you're looking for if you ask it for depth. So it's going to start with something more surfacey, and then it's going to get deeper and deeper as you dig into it. So that's something that learning curve, very, very short because basically you already know how to text. And so it's just basically kind of how do you text with a new client? You figure it out pretty quickly on how to communicate with them in a meaningful way. And so it's a lot different than the CRMs. Now AI is going to be implemented into all the CRMs and all the marketing stuff, all this stuff. There's already a lot of these companies are already starting to race to implement AI in the background and machine learning in the background. You're going to start seeing it everywhere. It's going to be a buzzword. It's already kind of a buzzword. It's going to be a lot bigger buzzword. I'm going to say in the next year, there can be a lot of sessions at it on everywhere you go, and it's going to be the social media of tomorrow. Where it's the cool thing, right? It's the cool thing. So, but that's the. I think I answered that question, but if I didn't get it completely, let me know and I'll go deeper.
Yeah, Peter, if you want, or Pete, if you want to take yourself off mute, feel free to speak up. Lee actually had a question as well. Is this amplification of the individual agent voice, or is it an improvement model? And I think that may have been
great question.
You were saying.
Yeah. So great question. So I'm going to say. I'm going to say alcohol is an amplification, right? I mean, like if both alcohol and money, if you put alcohol and money on anybody, they tend to be more of who they are. This is not quite like that. This allows you to extend yourself, but it also gives you a great amount of filtering from that standpoint. And so, yes, it's going to amplify who you are, but also it's going to refine and improve your messaging in a way that is the best way to approach it. So like one of the things, if you're having a problem with a client and you're saying, okay, I'm really struggling with how to communicate this message, it's bad news or whatever, I can go into AI and say, I have this bad news. I need to give it to my client. What's the best way to do this? And it's going to type out this beautiful thing in your voice that sounds like you wrote it, but you probably didn't. You were not mentally there and thinking in that space, where it's polite, it's kind, it's very well done, but it also delivers the bad news and gets the job done, right? But it does it in the best way possible. So it does help refine and make you better. And it also is going to amplify, what you can do and how loud you can be in any of the spaces that you're in.
Here's another question. How will this affect us when we meet people in person? Will we be a disappointment compared to our AI versions?
Oh, that is cute. Okay, so I'm a big believer in authenticity. I think we win with authenticity. I think we win with being who we are. Mm-hmm. And so at the end of the day, the one thing AI can't do is connect with people, especially on an authentic way, right? I mean, it doesn't have the memories or stories or emotions that go with who you and I are and the backgrounds that we have. And so that's really where we connect with people. And so when we meet with somebody, there's going to be, they're not going to be disappointed with you because I'm going to say that the best way to use AI is to amplify or to improve your own productivity and improve your, you're just making more of you and how you're doing it, you're more efficient. Mm-hmm. But you're not pretending to be somebody else. And so that's something that I don't think is going to be a real issue. I think that actually, when we actually meet with people in this world of AI, where AIs are talking to AIs, I think that people are really going to be craving that real personal connection in that authentic way. And I think that's where, like conferences and those things, and we can get the information anywhere. But one of the things I love about the LRE conferences is how much time there is to interact with one another, really, and to connect with one another. I was telling Megan before we jumped on today how much I'm looking forward to Park City. And if you haven't been to one of the conferences, like literally, go. It will change your life because there's so much time to connect with other people. No, honestly, I literally have been to all the conferences, all of them. And I've spoken at most of them at one point in time or another. And I will tell you, I have no other favorite conference than the LRE conferences. It's the ones I always will block out. I don't care what else is going on around it. Every time I'm there. Why? Because the quality of the organization and the quality of the leadership and the quality of the conversations you get to have with other people is really second to none. And they're intimate, they're fantastic, and you also have these voices that kind of cross the aisle of different brands and different brokerage models that allow people to share ideas in a way that's just truly magical, absolutely truly magical. And so that person-to-person thing, I think, is the key differentiator. They can't take that away from us, and the computer cannot fake that. They just can't fake that. So I think that we're going to, be even better in the future. I think people are going to more crave that. And again, if I'll be there in Park City, would love to see every one of you there, and spend time with every one of you there. But again, if you're not signed up, or if you're not thinking about going, I really suggest you think about going, because the events are second to none because of the interaction.
Chris, you're giving us such a great live testimonial here. I don't know what to say. I did add a link to our events page on the site, which will take you to each individual upcoming event through next spring of next year. We have a lot of things on the calendar already. Any other questions that we can address for people? We have a few more comments in the chat. A couple people have been saying that they have been using ChatGPT and it's been really effective, and that's awesome. It's good to hear that people are jumping in. I hope everyone has gone and created the AI version of themselves and leveraged those fun photos that you can share all over your profiles here and there. So I think it looks like we don't have any more questions. So Chris, I want to thank you so much for sharing your expertise and always being such a willing, a willing sort of participant in all of these kinds of things that we do. And again, thank you for your live testimonial. And I think that it speaks volumes to not only our network, but also our industry, how people want to give and share and grow and, rise the tide together, so to speak. So thank you so much. And just to reiterate to everyone, this is going to be recorded. It will be in the Luxury Lounge, accessible for members. And Chris, it's been great. Thank you.
My pleasure. It was great spending time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon, I hope.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye all.